Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, Terry here. 2-6 player, guys. 2-6 player workshop here on this video series, or this video of Greg Norman. Now, Greg Norman, obviously a senior golfer. Don't think Greg is golfing much these days. I think he's, I know he's staying in shape, but I don't think he's golfing as much. But we're going to take a quick look at Norman's swing, because he's the prototype of the senior golfer. He's probably the prototype of a lot of golfers that we have here on 2-6. And we have to kind of understand how this works. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick Greg up. He's already off the ball. So he's not starting with this club head this far back. He's already moved off the ball. But let's notice his posture. Slightly bent knees. He's got a little curvature in his back, but that's okay. Might be a little senior issue there. Arms hanging straight down, shaft hanging, or shaft extending from his hands. Now, since he's already off the ball, let's just assume that, he's trying to keep this angle. See, this angle here is about 144 degrees. We need to keep this angle, guys, as the club moves back. Now, how do we do that? We do that by making sure that the cup in our lead wrist doesn't break, because if we grip the club properly, base of the fingers, lead hand, put the thumb on the trail side of the club handle with the lead hand, we're going to have a slight cup in our wrist. Now, when we come off the ball, to keep the wrist silent, to keep that lead wrist from breaking the cup, we want to try to come off the ball feeling like that our lead shoulder is helping us move off the ball, and have the whole unit between the lead shoulder and the cup lead wrist just to come straight off the ball, so we can create this space. Buy this real estate is what I call it. Now, let me say this. This is the biggest influence in your golf swing. Buying this real estate here, as far as maintaining space, influences everything on the way up, and it influences everything on the way down. If you understand that, you are light years ahead of golf instruction today, anywhere online. I guarantee it. I've been there. 15 years I've been there. Okay, so let's keep Greg going here. So as Greg takes the club back, notice how he's moving back. Now he's going to pass through parallel. Now I want you to notice his lead knee. His lead knee is not too active. It's not too active until basically he passes parallel. So as he passes parallel, now the lead knee begins to move down a little bit. Bearing more weight on the lead leg and pressure on the trail hip, that keeps you centered. The objective is to stay centered, guys. The objective isn't to know how much weight's being loaded or how much pressure's being loaded. That's not the point. The point is you have to stay centered with the head back. Now notice he's still what? After he maintains his space, now he's creating width. Look how extended his lead arm is. Now for many of us, this might be as far back as we can go, but we want to be this far back with width, instead of trying to get way back here past parallel with a bent lead arm. So we want to keep this arm as straight as possible. Now that may not be possible for all of us, but this is what you need to know. Shorter back swing, a little more width, could get you a better swing. Now Greg, like I said, he's in pretty good shape, so he's going to go on up and around. So he's going to get way up here. Okay, straight lead arm. Trail elbows looking good. Okay. More pressure, again, more weight, lead leg, more pressure, trail hip, head back. See how the head's gone back. Now he's ready to do what? Now he's ready to drop the club. Now, it's going to be easier for Greg to drop the club because he has resistance in his arms. His body didn't roll with him. So he feels resistance here. So now it's almost like a rubber band. When you pull a rubber band, you feel that resistance. When you let the rubber band go, it's going to have a lot of power. If you don't pull the rubber band back so tightly and you feel slack, then that rubber band is just going to go anywhere when you release it. You want to get as much resistance as possible. Again, resistance is not tension, it's resistance. Just like leverage is not strong, it's leverage. So now he's going to start his downswing. So now when he comes down, he can just drop his arms on his center. Now notice how he's in the cradle position right here. Look at the cradle. Right here in the cradle. Look how square his hips are. Look how flat his feet are. But look how far the club has dropped. Look how far the club is dropped into the cradle, but yet his hips are still square. Now what does that mean? It simply means that he started his downswing with the head staying back, which locked back the trail shoulder. As the arms begin to drop, the hips and the arms drop together. There is no thrusting with the hips. There is no firing the lower body. There is no firing the hips. They have to stay in a time release, what we call one piece downswing action to get here into the cradle, because there's this club. So now everything can do what? Everything from this position here, from the cradle, can now rotate and release through the ball. So notice the changes. He looks very flat right here. But notice the changes that are about to happen. As he begins to hit through the ball, look at all that rotation now. Okay, so from here to here, and let's just back up. Let's go from the cradle to under the table. Just back up. So there he's at impact. But look how much has happened between the cradle and impact. His foot has come up a little bit. He's rolling on the inside of his trail foot. His hips now are what? His hips now have kind of released as the arms drop. Okay? Now notice as we keep going here, he moves the club under the table, arms fully extended, under the table. Look how much of his hips have rotated. The hips rotate with your wrists as the head stays back. His feet are still relatively flat because he still has leverage coming through on the ground. So as he hits under the table and goes to his full follow through, now his head comes up, he comes up to a full finish, and now he's up on his toes. He utilized the full force of the ground with his feet to create the rotation in his arms on his center. As the arms drop, head back, locks back the trail shoulder, that forces the hips to move, but it forces the hips to move as the arms drop in a one-piece downswing here at 2-6. Okay, that's how this works. Again, not a lot of motion in the core. The core does not have a lot of motion, but it does feed what? It does feed the arms. All the motion is in the arms. All the energy is in the core. Okay, that's why when Greg gets to here, let me just do this as an addendum here. When Greg gets here in his cradle, here, the body doesn't look like it's doing much because all the energy is waiting now to be released. What you see is the arms whipping through because it's feeding from the core, from the center of the body. If your body's too active, if you're moving off the ball, if you're twisting off the ball, that's too much body movement and your arms won't get the full benefit of energy being released from the core. Okay? Hope this helps. Hope this helps. 2-6 player workshop, Greg Norman, driver. Guys, I will talk to you in the next video.